Well, hello everybody. It's nice. And your new state representative from the 46th District, Javier, congratulations. Good choice. So thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here in front of the fighting. Accurate. So in the Washington State Labor Council, we represent about over 400,000 union members across the state. And we represent about 400 different labor organizations. We're all affiliated together. Nationwide, union density is about 10.7% right now in the country. That's declined every year since the 1980s when the Department of Labor started tracking. Public sector is actually the most highly unionized labor force in the country. Over 34% of union members are in the public sector. About 6.4% are in the private sector. And men and women are about equally likely to be union members. Black workers are the most likely to be union members. They have the highest union density. In Washington State, we're the fourth most union dense state. That is the fourth most, with people who are represented by unions, we're number 4. And we have about 18% of union density in Washington State. Which also means that we have, still 18% is really good compared to 10.7%, but compared to the number of people who are unorganized, there's still a long way to go. So who are we? We build cities, we make and fly airplanes, we're teachers, social workers, engineers, nurses, plumbers, fix the elevators, pour the concrete, grow, deliver, and sell the food from the farm to your table. Which reminds me, just tonight, the Familias Unidas is signing their first contract with the Sakuma Brothers Dairy Farm. Hotels and offices, drive the buses, deliver the mail, work at call centers and in City Hall, fight fires, keep the power on. We're on the ferries and on the football field. And we're women and men, trans, non-conforming, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, atheist, every religion. We're immigrants and indigenous of every race and nationality. We're documented and we're not. We're straight and queer and bi. We're workers and retirees. We're working people who fight for the freedom to join together to negotiate a fair return for our work. We fight for the freedom to balance our home, community, and our work. To attend parent-teacher conferences, to take a loved one to the doctor, to bond with a new baby, to retire with financial security and dignity. We fight for Social Security and Medicare, for universal health care, for paid family, sick and safe leave, for decent wages, for the right to live and work safely and freely, for comprehensive immigration reform so families don't live in fear, for climate policies that protect the planet and the communities most impacted by the fossil fuel industry, for fair trade policies that raise the global standard of living, for public services and a strong safety net, for safety and health standards. Because working people deserve the same freedom that corporate CEOs have. The freedom to negotiate a fair return on our work so we can provide for our families. But billionaires and corporate CEOs pay politicians to do their bidding, chipping away at the freedoms that people in unions have won for all of us. We know how to fight, and it's become abundantly clear that we need to stand together so we have the power in numbers to rewrite the rules. Unions also promote candidates that fight for these things. But corporations and their lobbyists besiege lawmakers in a singular pursuit of profit. The rich and the powerful have rigged the rules in their favor, with lower taxes, a global search for low wages, with deregulation. It doesn't have to be this way. Unions exist to help level the playing field, to give some voice and power to working people so we can negotiate for our fair share of the wealth that we create. We all know, I hope we all know, that unions raise the standard of living for union members and non-union members. States with high union density have better wages, better public services, a higher standard of living. And unions have been under attack for decades because we work to shift some of the wealth working people create back to working people. As union density declines, so do overall wages. I had some charts, but I'm going to use my hands for this one. We know one of the things that's happened over the past decades is productivity has increased. So this is our productivity line, right? Productivity has been on the increase for decades. We keep increasing productivity. Wages, it used to be that this is our wage line. As productivity increased, wages increased. They went together. But around the 1980s, we suddenly had a split. Productivity has continued to increase, but wages have stagnated. And this gap in the middle, that's wealth. And all that wealth has been redistributed upward. All of the wealth that's been created over the past several decades has gone to the top 10% and even more so to the very top 1% and 0.1% of 1%. Poorest wage earners have gotten poorer. Our poorest wage earners, their incomes have actually declined in the last 30 years. Average wages have risen a little, but mostly remain stagnant. The highest wages, all of our productivity wealth has gone to the top. There's been a persistent attack on the labor movement to accelerate this redistribution of wealth from working people to the very rich. And there's another reason for the attacks that we've seen on our freedom to associate. Unions tend to support Democrats. For the right wing, destroying unions means destroying the Democratic Party. And they know this. They are clear about this. Grover Norquist has said several times, we destroy the unions and we destroy the Democratic Party. I've been a conscious Democrat since I rooted for George McGovern in my 6th grade class. He was my huge crush on George McGovern. But we can't pretend that the party hasn't changed since then. Increased reliance on corporate money, shifting policies to the right to appease a center that seems increasingly conservative, failing to strengthen the ability of working people to organize, increasingly adopting neoliberal economic and trade policies that deregulate industry and cut corporate taxes, failing to make the important case that government is not a bad thing. It's there to protect and serve the population. It's there to create policies and institutions that better all of our lives. But now, especially with this current administration in Congress, it's at the state and municipal levels that we can most effectively resist and create policies that better all of our lives. The Republicans know this. They've used state government to suppress voting rights, weaken unions, attack Planned Parenthood and reproductive rights, to block municipal actions on raising wages and benefits, and we've seen a well-funded attack. Are y'all familiar with ALEC?
Yes.
All right. Don't need to tell you. Funded by corporations and billionaires, it writes legislation to roll back worker rights, super PACs that pour billions of dollars into elections. And we've seen the effect. In 2016, of course, we know what happened with the presidential race, but Democrats lost 900 state legislative seats. 900 state legislative seats. 17 states now have veto-proof Republican majorities. Another 15 are under Republican control. That's 32 states that are controlled by Republican legislators. 8 are democratically controlled, 8 states. 5, including ours, are divided. 4 states now have Republican legislators and a governor. They're looking towards the 2020 census and redistricting to further solidify these gains. But you know, it doesn't have to be this way. We have the power of the people. We are woke now for sure, I have to say. I'll talk more about what we're doing in the Washington State labor movement across the state